Test, test.
Yo, apprentices, acolytes, and fellow lords here on the Dark Temple on Dromin Kaas, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I am Lord Dagovere, and it's so good to see you. Let's go, baby. How you guys doing today? Ooh, we got Jeff, we got SJ, we got Athena coming in. Let's freaking go. Skywalker Academy, the fam, be rad inside the chat. Can I get for the first time today with the apprentices and acolytes? Ready up. I'm sick today, guys. I'm sick today. I'm just starting getting sick. Well, it's actually kind of crazy because I was sick on the weekend, and then I got sick again. I'm getting sick today again. So, but that's fine. You know, we do it. We worked out today. We worked out, and we're doing the stream. I probably won't go the full hour, but I'm gonna stream. We're gonna get it going, okay? I don't care, rain, sleep, or shine, baby, dead or alive, we are here, baby. Weak or peak, that's the way we're going to do it. All the time. So, my friends, how you guys doing today? How you guys doing today? Huh? You got a Clone Wars question? Yeah, I'm down, fam. Whatever you got. We do got some stuff to go over today. We're going to try to get over it as soon as we can. The goal right now is to go for 30 minutes. And if I can go for 30 minutes, maybe I can go for 40. And if I can go for 40, maybe I can go for 50. Okay? So I walked 5.25 miles. Dude, that is awesome. That's great. That is about 10K steps. That's around that area. That's pretty amazing, you know? The force is strong. Yo, Robert, thank you so much for coming. Everybody, welcome Robert with a ready up. So good to see you, fam. Thank you so much for being here. Love it, dude. Appreciate the energy. Spring allergies have started. See, that was the thing. I never used to get allergies. And then I was over 30 and that's it. I walk outside and it's like I'm getting jumped. Especially around the fall and spring. It's crazy. And I played sports my whole life. So I'm new to this. It's like been happening for like 4 or 5 years. I'm new to it, and then on top of that, I'm getting sick. So it's just kind of crazy. Yeah, man, I hate it. In season 3, episode 2, the Separatists attack Camino. Yes, and that's also a part of the Battlefront game, which is a pretty sick mission. Which is pretty sick. I got the allergies last year in spring. Yeah, dude. Yeah, because I go outside and when I do lawn work and everything. It's like it's hitting me. I'm not even. I'm outside for like 10 minutes, and it's just like whap whap whap. It's like General Grievous jumping all those poor Jedi in the micro series, man. It's just no chance, dude. Oh my god, dude. But we have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about today, specifically about the KOTOR remake. There was some announcements about Mando and Grogu not talking in the movie, which I'm not excited about at all. That kind of sucks. You guys know that I thought that he was going to grow at the end of that, but We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. As I touch my head, allergies can start after 30. I'm doomed. Yes. Yes. No, because I was fine. I didn't need glasses. I didn't need anything. Once I hit 30, that was it. That was it. Yo, Rebel Dom, so good to see you. Appreciate you. Everybody welcome Rebel Dom with a ready up inside the chat. Jeff says, given that secret, purpose of the clones is to eliminate the Jedi, why would they do that? Well, the Separatists don't know. The Separatists have no idea. You know, I think what a lot of people don't understand is that Darth Sidious is playing everybody, including Count Dooku. You know, in Dooku's eyes, it's going to be him and Anakin and Sidious that are going to, like, basically create the galaxy anew. But Sidious wasn't telling everybody what was going on. You know, even to the extent that Dooku knew, Dooku did not truly understand what was happening. And that's why a lot of people don't understand, like, how deceitful Sidious is. Ultimately, the Separatists were just pawns. You know, yeah, sure, the Separatists are going out and they're fighting, you know, and they're doing these things. But the be-all-be-alls, like, these are still people. They still have choices. You know, Sidious doesn't control everybody in there. So they go out and they fight and they find Kamino, but it didn't matter. Kamino wasn't getting overrun. The clones are just too good. And then you have the Jedi on them as well. So it didn't really matter that they found. That was just a really amazing strategy that they had. But I don't know, man. I don't think it matters as much as people think. It's the same thing with Coruscant. You know, they also attacked Coruscant. Look what happened with Coruscant. Nothing happened. Sidious is just playing the game. That's all he was. And that's why I think he's truly, in my opinion, top 2 Sith Lords of all time. I really don't think there is anyone in that same realm as him and Vitiate at all. You know, I find it very unlikely that Grievous and Ventress knew about Order 66. I would say that they knew of something that was going to happen, but I highly doubt that they knew the context of everything else. I would say no. Of course, Ventress has no idea. Ventress isn't anywhere near in that game, but yeah, I would say that they did not know. You know, Skywalker Academy says only Sidious knew who was going to win himself. Yeah, I think the best part of it is when you read the novelization for Revenge of the Sith. Dooku is sitting there, and you know his arms are chopped off, or his hands are chopped off, and he's like, "Dude, what the flip? I thought we were gonna do this together." And then that's when he realizes that he's been deceived the entire time. You know, I think it's a beautifully tragic end to his story because it does. I think it's the same thing with like Anakin and Dooku, and that's why I love Revenge of the Sith so much, is because it doesn't matter how great your intentions are. You know, the worst things imaginable can be done with great intentions. Dooku genuinely, and depending on the canon that you read in Legends, you know, he saw Jedis as like his brother, you know, and in new canon, it's different. I would say he's definitely more evil in new canon, but at the same time too, like he wasn't always evil. He just didn't like the Republic. He wanted to save his home, Sereno. You know, there was a lot of political stuff happening with him that drug him out of the Jedi, but the Jedi who they were, and then someone like Sidious comes in and takes advantage of who Count Dooku is. And I think that's the beauty of that story, is that someone as powerful as Sidious can manipulate and deceive anybody, even Space Jesus. And I think that's the whole point about Sidious's power. Everybody always talks about like Nihilus and Vitiate and all these other characters, but the real evil is what Sidious is doing. That's why he's the most powerful. That's why he's the greatest Sith Lord of all time. He's the great deceiver. And George Lucas calls him the devil incarnate, evil incarnate. And I don't think people really understand that when George is saying that, he means like by everything, by power, by deceit, by knowledge, everything. Like Sidious is supposed to be the be-all. And that's why he basically destroys everything, you know, almost destroys Anakin too. So yeah, never underestimate how much Sidious is deceiving everybody, for sure. It's kind of crazy. All right, so I can definitely feel my strength waning immediately, guys. Also, I got this. So I found this thing. I don't know if you guys, a lot of you guys probably have no idea what this is. Thank you so much, Robert. Appreciate you, fam. I appreciate your energy. I got this, funny enough, this Webster's dictionary device. It's an old device because I don't like using AI at all. And damn it, the battery's dead. But basically, if you guys see me whip this out, I'm going to start trying to improve my vocabulary a lot more. And what this thing does, it allows me, I think it was made in like the 2000s. It's a pretty old tech. But you put in a word and it'll define it. But if you want to find words similar to it, you use, there's other buttons on here that allow it to be a thesaurus as well. And so you can find words that are similar and use it. So that's something that I've been wanting to do. And I found it. And it's like totally retro, but I think it's really cool. It's like relic technology for me because it's, I'm older than it, but it's still, you don't really see stuff like that. So I really like that. And I want to use some vintage class stuff. So if you see me pick up this thing and start using different words that don't make sense, we're going to learn together, okay? But it has no batteries right now. But I've been using it actually all week, and that's probably why the battery died. But let's get into the first thing. So, pretty cool stuff here, guys. It looks like Mando and Grogu stuff has already gone up in some theaters. I haven't been to the theaters this weekend because I wanted to see the new Interstellar Ryan Gosling movie type thing. And I thought it was going to be really sick, so I wanted to see it. But we do get a preview of a Mando and Grogu popcorn bucket, but it's I think, I don't know if it's like a default thing. It doesn't really seem like a bucket to me. But I think it's already cool that, we're only a couple months away, and now we're finally like we're hitting the point that promotion is happening for this movie, and it's starting to make me feel really good. Yeah, no problem, Robert. Have a good day, all right, fam? Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Vocabulary with Dagovere. Yeah, we're going to be unlocking the knowledge all the time, man. Think of it as a holocron. But I'm pretty excited about it. It's making me feel like, after that trailer, I've starting to really turn the tide on the excitement for this movie for myself. Like, I'm actually feeling like I'm actually excited. I actually can't wait. I don't know how much of it will be good, but I do think it'll be a solid movie, especially with Jon Favreau directing it. Oh my god, I feel like crap, guys. Jesus, and it's only gonna get worse. This is day 0. I'm not even really sick. It started happening when I was at work. Yeah, man, it's the worst. But I'm excited, dude. I think it looks cute. I put it inside the Discord as well, guys, if you guys wanted to see it. So get in there. But I guess we could talk about the other thing about Mando and Grogu is that Kathleen Kennedy apparently had talked about how Grogu will not be speaking the entire movie. He won't even say a word. Not a single word. I don't like that. I think that's kind of a cop-out, man. And you guys know I really don't like I had this idea already, which is why I always put on the thumbnail for the stream that I was wrong, right? Because that's the whole point. A lot of people don't admit that they are wrong, and there's a lot of stuff that I get wrong, even though there's some stuff I get right. But I was pretty certain, guys, that this movie would have Grogu grow and hit the next evolutionary stage, I guess you could say, of his character arc. And I think a part of that was probably talking as well. I think if that is a true report, like if Kathleen Kennedy is not lying and holding in this great spoiler, right? I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know if I like it. If we watch this whole movie and Grogu is still little Grogu, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that, I think the movie can be good. It's just that's where I really want this to go. I really want this to be like a new chapter and actually progressing the story. But if it's not, I don't know, man. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, Has Grogu said anything yet in the show? No, not in English. I mean, he's spoken words like in season 2, he said, "Batu, batu, 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 batu," and then he does these like little beeps and not beeps. He's like these like the little baby noises. That's been like season 1, but the first time he ever really said anything was the Ice Spiders episode, and he was like pointing, letting Din know Frog Lady was taking off and going into the pond to shower, but that's it. That's really the only time he's really like spoken like that. Well, I guess you can say season 3, he also kind of baby mumbled, "This is the way." Like he just, it was when Bo-Katan and Mando were in the same ship, and the Imperials destroyed her entire home. And there was like this weird silence for a second, and then because they had said this is the way, and then he said rah, 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 and then they were like, what the flip? And then they got attacked. So there wasn't really a lot of time to like focus on that, and I think a lot of people forgot about that, and they kind of forgot about that in the entire series. But if you go back and watch that episode, he definitely mutters something. It's definitely baby talk though. What's her exact quote? He won't speak English, or he won't speak at all? I think the exact quote, SJ, is that he won't say a single word, which I thought was kind of weird. I was like, so he's not going to say a single word, but will he say words? Let me see. I have it here. Here we go. This is the exact quote. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. I'm so slow today because of how I feel. All right, so this is it. It says, Kathleen Kennedy confirms Grogu will not speak in The Mandalorian and Grogu. Not a word. And this is from Variety. So it's not like, some shitty rumor that's going around. This seems like it's going to be pretty solid. So he's not going to say anything. Anything. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. I'm not too hype about that. Yeah, I must have missed that. It's okay. I mean, I don't think a lot of people paid attention to season 3. I liked it, but I'm in the minority. Mind you, when I say I like it, it just means that I liked it. I wouldn't compare it at all to season 1 and 2. Season 1 and 2 is like here, and then 3 is like down here. Not bad, just nowhere near as good as everything else. Athena says, if it's true, then it's sad that he won't even say his first word yet. Give us one word, please. Yeah, I feel like if he's going to say anything, it has to be in the movies, right, guys? Jeff says season 3 was okay. Yeah, I think that's a better label for it than what the internet says, for sure. Skywalker Academy says, I think he also kind of said Dada in Book of Boba Fett. No shit. Maybe? Was that when he reunited with him? I can't remember. Maybe. Yeah, it's been a while. I have to go and watch a couple of these episodes again. Chat disconnected. Are you guys still here with me? Please try to reconnect. Please wait while we try to reconnect you. Oh no. All right, I'm going to keep talking just in case. But we still have some things I want to talk about. You guys know that I do my my content. Okay, there you go. It says, oh, Anthony, welcome. Everybody welcome Anthony with a ready up. Thank you. I love everything season 3 of Mando told us my opinion. Yeah, dude. Nice. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Sorry. Yeah, and as you can see, I'm not like as high octane as myself like I usually am. But don't worry, baby. The knowledge is here, okay? Appreciate you guys. So let's get into the next things. You guys know how I do shorts, right? The stuff. How many of you guys watch the shorts, by the way? I really want to know. How many of you guys actually watch the shorts on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, the lore videos that I do? There's about 3 a week. I used to do them like every day, but I just felt like it didn't make sense, especially how weird YouTube had been, especially the last 2 years. YouTube was like testing so many different things, and when I would upload a video, it would just be a little wacky sometimes. Like sometimes it would get like no views at all, and then I would have to re-upload it, and then it get like 10K or something. But I have found how it kind of works now, and I've been doing it pretty well, especially in the last year. So it's been fun to see the channel grow. But a lot of times, especially when the videos perform as well as they're supposed to, as well as I anticipate, which is like not too much, right? It's like maybe like 10K views, right, per short, which I think is outstanding, And I will get a lot of people, that have comments, that have views. And there was one last week, that I thought was kind of whack, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. We're always going to remain respectful and everything, because you guys are really cool. But I just wanted to talk about in general about how people's perception of the movies may kind of contort and twist their views on the Jedi or the Sith, you know, and this is going to be one of them. And actually, I'm going to read your stuff after this, okay? So let's talk about this real quick. So I had recently posted on Starlight Podcast, and if you guys haven't seen Starlight Podcast, please go ahead and check it out. It's with my boys Daddy Sheev and Jedi Connor, and we posted on our YouTube channel. And I was talking about how Mace Windu doesn't use the dark side, right? And a lot of people were just talking about Mace Windu in general and like whether or not he uses the dark side. It's kind of like this eternal debate as whether or not Mace Windu uses the dark side. I've talked about it a lot of times on the stream that he does not use the dark side. This is what Vapad does. This is why he doesn't use the dark side, right? And a lot of people were talking about how, you know, it's not really good to defend someone like Mace Windu because Mace Windu is someone that hates Anakin. And it'll get into this whole debate about, you know, the Jedi messing up Anakin and ruining Anakin and or not loving Anakin enough, whatever it is, you know, it's all kind of like tangled into one objective in view. So we got down to this one guy, and he was talking about how Mace Windu broke the Jedi code when he was trying to kill Sidious. And I thought that was really interesting. So he says, Mace Windu tried to kill Palpatine instead of arresting him. It's the same decision Anakin made when killing Dooku. And he said, I shouldn't have done that. It's not the Jedi way. Mace choosing to go against the code of the Jedi was the final straw for Anakin choosing to join the dark side. And so there's a couple things in here that I think is really interesting, is that claiming that Mace Windu broke the Jedi code. And then the other thing was claiming that Mace going against the Jedi code was Anakin's final straw for him to turn to the dark side. And then how Mace Windu killing Sidious is the same choice that Anakin ends up making to kill Count Dooku. I don't think that's true at all. I think those are very, very, very different choices. Like it's 1-on-1, and Count Dooku hasn't killed anybody. In fact, Count Dooku isn't anywhere near as a threat as Sidious, right? And Anakin doing that, there was no reason. Like, Count Dooku was already gone. His hands were chopped off. He was done. The fight was over. Anakin murdered him. Anakin murdered him because Palpatine was telling him to do it. That's not the same thing. Yes, of course it's not the Jedi way, but what Anakin did, in my opinion, is way worse than what Mace Windu is going to do. What is Mace Windu trying to do? He's trying to save the galaxy. He's trying to eradicate the Sith. And this was also before Mace Windu just watched his entire clique get exterminated by the Dark Lord of the Sith. The other thing is here, too, is to even, like, convince yourself, is to even trick yourself into believing that, oh, this is the final straw, you know. Anakin just couldn't stand the way he treated Sidious and turns on Mace in that moment. Dude, Anakin has been gone. That's the whole point of the trilogy. That's the whole point of Revenge of the Sith, is that Sidious has planted this seed of doubt and deception, manipulation, you know, mental illness inside of this kid who's supposed to be the son of the Force. It had nothing to do with Mace. It had nothing to do with Mace. It had nothing to do with Mace Windu. It was about Mace Windu. Sorry, guys. It was nothing about Mace Windu. It was about Padme. It was about Anakin not being honest. It was about Anakin effing up and choosing someone like Sidious over everybody else. It was selfishness. It had nothing to do with right and wrong or good or evil. It was selfishness. And you guys know I'm the biggest Anakin Skywalker fan. But I just think that this type of thinking is so. I think that we're watching different films. You know, I genuinely think that we're watching different films. By the way, everybody, welcome Casual Chris into the chat. Everybody, welcome Casual Chris with the ready up. Thank you so much. Sorry, guys, I'm so sick, man. It's so hard for me to even articulate any thought. Oh, I love this conversation because I can't stand Windu. That's hilarious, B-Rad. I think Mace Windu gets a lot of hate that he doesn't deserve. And I used to dislike Mace Windu a lot in Revenge of the Sith, but ever since I read the Revenge of the Sith novelization, it's completely changed my perspective on Mace. And I really appreciate him a lot more after reading that, you know. Mace hadn't seen the Jedi get killed. Mace was the first Jedi to be killed. Mace hadn't seen the Jedi get killed. Mace was the first Jedi to be killed. He died. Oh, yes. But I'm talking about Agent Kalor, Saisi 10, Kit Fisto. I'm talking about his entire clique that he brought in there. You know, it was he saw them get eradicated. They were destroyed. It wasn't. It was not a fight. You know, and yeah. And Mace Windu is sitting there, you know, and he's like, "Hey, man, you're getting arrested." And then he didn't realize. I don't think anybody realized how strong Sidious was going to be, you know. Casual Chris says, "Selfishness does not equal wrong. Selfishness does not equal wrong." Yeah, no, okay. So, all right, Chris. I think what you bring up, if you don't mind me talking about it, okay? Because I don't want to single you out, but I think what you're saying presents something or represents something that the fandom, I think, has a hard time understanding in like real life versus Star Wars. But I'm going to tell you something right now is that what you're saying I don't think is wrong in real life. For instance, like if my family wants to invite me to go to a Christmas party because they haven't seen me in forever, I'm going to say no because I just want to stay home and relax. That's selfishness, right? I don't think that's wrong, you know? Or, which is, I think this is challenging, is like you are extremely hungry, you know, and you don't have a lot of money, and someone comes and asks you for that for the money that you have so they can eat too. I don't think that you are entirely wrong for saying no, you know, because you want to eat. You can't feed other people until you feed yourself, right? Or it's kind of like when I say is like, you know, feed yourself before you feed others, because eventually someone will take advantage of you. Not everybody, but a lot of people give too much, right? So I think that is like a context of selfishness, what I don't think is evil. But when we're talking about Anakin, literally like ruining the entire galaxy and killing Mace Windu, I think that is extremely selfish. Extremely selfish. Comparative to Sidious, right? He already knows at that moment of the movie and the novelization, you know. So we'll get to that too, Chris. We'll get to that too. We'll talk about Sidious and then we'll talk about Count Dooku. So at that point for Sidious, Anakin has already been told by Sidious himself that he's the Sith Lord they're looking for. In that moment, it should click to Anakin that this guy needs to go. And it does. It does. He goes all the way back to the Jedi Temple and tells Mace and tells everyone. And in the novelization, it's amazing, which is why I had so much more respect for Mace, because when Mace finds out that not only that Sidious told Anakin that he was the Sith Lord, but the fact that Anakin, you know, didn't betray anybody and legitimately told Mace. And Mace saw what he would describe as like, I think it was like the bomb to destroy everything in existence. That's what he saw Anakin as in that moment, because how delicate Anakin was, you know. But when they're fighting Sidious, Mace Windu tells him he's the chosen one. This is his destiny, you know. And I thought that was like the most powerful thing Mace could say. But Anakin didn't listen. So I felt like in all those things, in retrospect, when you watch the movies, that's what Anakin wanted the most. He wanted the rank of master. He wanted to do all these things, right? But even when he was given it, it didn't matter to him in the end. Power mattered. And I think that's where the selfishness comes in. With Count Dooku, it's also selfish. It's extremely selfish. There's nothing that Anakin needs to do in that moment. Even with Sidious talking behind his back, because he's the Dark Lord of the Sith whispering in his ear. You know, he's the devil, right? And Anakin doesn't need to do that. It's ultimately selfishness that is driving Anakin, because that point is way before the point that we see in Mace Windu. It's all connected. It's all the same thing. Anakin and his literal lust for power. It's all the same thing, you know? I think that's exactly what defines him in everything. What's up, David Torres? How you doing, fam? Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Welcome, David Torres, with a Ready Up. Also, guys, you know, if you guys think I'm wrong, call me out, talk about this. As long as you're cool, you know. We can talk about this all the time. I love engaging with you guys. This is what being a Star Wars fan is. SJ says, Sam L. half robotic because of the fall and all of that. Let's go. I know a lot of you guys want to see Mace Windu back, but it's so funny. I didn't realize how many of the people in the community, like in my community, wanted to see Mace back. I mean, he's cool as shit. I just don't know. Skywalker Academy says, if anything, Ahsoka has more of a reason to hate Mace, which why, you know, I really hated when he said that to Ahsoka. I really disliked that. That was actually kind of crazy. That did not do good for Mace Windu's perception in the fandom at all. That was not okay. I did not like that, actually. Gage says, I feel like the comparison to Dooku doesn't really work when Palpatine wasn't even defenseless. Gage, in what were you talking about? Are you talking about like how what he's saying about Count Dooku and Mace? Count Dooku and Sidious, and Mace killing Mace trying to kill Sidious and Anakin trying to kill Dooku. B-Red says, my reasons for disliking Mace are entirely due to my own personal trauma. I admit that. Damn. I'm sorry, big dog. It depends on the context. Okay, Verger debunks this in The Destiny's Way, where she calls out to Luke being prideful because he's indoctrinated. Okay, so I understand. I understand where you're getting at, Chris. I get it. So I mean, I wish Logan was here, man. So here's my thing, all right? And I'm not, I'm going to tell you guys, when I don't know something, I'm going to tell you guys, okay? You guys know I know a lot about this shit. But with Verger, I think Vergier and Verger, whatever you want to call her, it's a very interesting character, because when you read New Jedi Order, there are so many different contexts of the way Vergier talks. And it's supposedly saying that Vergier is like finding this way in between, right? Which I believe cannot exist, because I believe in George Lucas's view of the Force, and the dark side is a drug. But Vergier has a very different perception of everything, you know, almost, in my opinion, distorted, right? And the way, what Chris is talking about is how calls out Luke for being prideful because he's indoctrinated in the tradition of Jedi ways. Isn't wrong, because who trained Luke Skywalker? Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda. These are, in my opinion, you know, some of the most integral parts of the High Council. That is the reason why they were in Revenge of the Sith. But a lot of those books, especially Heir to the Empire, you know, they were created. The Heir to the Empire was created well before the prequels even came out. And the biggest issue with a lot of these views of the Force is that George Lucas did not write them himself. You know, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. The EU matters. I'm a huge Legends fan. You guys know this. But I think when we talk about specifically this character, I think this character is extremely polarizing because of their view in the Force and how they interact with everything around them. And I think that's the one damning part of the EU, because I think it goes off in a direction that perhaps George might not have gone. You know, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying I don't know how to take in that knowledge when I just can't, it doesn't sit with my like belief of the Force, you know. But that's the way how I view it, but it doesn't really matter what I think, you know. Gage says Anakin is entirely in the wrong with his choice. George intended it. Yes, exactly. And George says that as much in the Revenge of the Sith bonus material for the commentary. It's a shame that Mace fully believed in Anakin to make the right choice. There is the kind of, and that is why, like, I have problems with Mace Windu, but in that moment where he's completely trusting Anakin, both in the movie and in the book, you know, don't listen to him, Anakin, you know, like, Mace is saying all the right things. And I know Mace is like the asshole, right, to a lot of fans. But that book, I think, goes deeper into that, especially when he says, no, dude, you're the chosen one. This is your destiny. Don't do this. You know, and then Mace like fully believes that Anakin is right behind him, and then he gets his trust betrayed. You know, I think Anakin knows it's somewhat of a good thing to kill him. It's actually the teachings of the Jedi that creates the tension of Anakin, not his fundamental beliefs. I disagree. I disagree entirely. Like, you're talking about Anakin did not learn anything from the Jedi. You know, Anakin is a former slave that has attachment issues. He's clearly suffered physical abuse being a slave, and he was stripped away from his mother, right? And then his mother dies. Even when all these terrible things are happening, Anakin Skywalker is still a passionate child that loves people, that has intense amounts of feeling. And what everybody, you know, crucifies the Jedi as, you know, is that they're this emotionless order. And if they were, why is Anakin so emotional? He's the exact opposite. And that's because whatever they're teaching doesn't work. In fact, no one's listening into the entire Jedi Order, because Obi-Wan Kenobi is thinking about leaving the Order because he wants to be with Satine. You know, whatever the hell's going on with Ki-Adi-Mundi and that fucking character all of a sudden people care about. Everybody's got someone or something going on, you know. And in the new canon, it's even more complex because the High Council has to hide the child that one lady had from Dooku Jedi Lost. All I'm saying is that the Jedi Council is not as effective as people think in brainwashing Anakin. You know who is? Sidious. The moment this kid walked into the Jedi Order, Sidious had been grooming him from day one. Sidious was planting the seeds of doubt and mistrust, everything, and self-consciousness inside this child. It was not the fundamental beliefs of the Jedi. It was the fundamental beliefs that were planted inside Anakin, and the source was Sidious. I feel like that's the whole point of Revenge of the Sith, The Phantom Menace, and Attack the Clones. It's all Sidious the entire time. It's not the Jedi, you know? Yes, the Jedi fuck up and they do stupid shit, but they're nowhere near as guilty for ruining and destroying Anakin as much as Sidious and Anakin is. It's 100% Sidious's fault. The next blame is Anakin, and then the lesser is the Jedi. That's how I see it, you know? That's how I see it, 100%. Virgil isn't believing in the middle grade Jedi type of stuff. She believes that your choices are what you make, good or bad. Something Lucas confirmed that Stover has correct about when writing Revenge of the Sith novel. Interesting. Do you have a quote for that, dude? Because I have a whole bunch of save stuff that I found. Stover and a couple other people were going over like their views of the Force, and it was going down a really interesting way. And I'm just not sure how much of it like George cared for it. You know, I'm not saying he didn't, but like I said, he's not writing the books, so it's hard to interpret what I can take from those books, you know. Thank you so much, Daddy Sheep. Everybody welcome Daddy Sheep with the ready up. Bugsy, oh my god, Grand Admiral Gunnar Bugsy inside the chat. Everybody welcome Bugsy. Let's freaking go. I'm sick today, bro. I still did my workout though, and I'm still streaming, and we're at 40 minutes, guys. Thank you. Let's see here. Oh, guys, make sure you tag each other when you're replying to each other, okay? So I can not answer someone else's stuff that isn't intended for the conversation that we're talking about. Leon says, apologies for being late. I'll be joining the stream in a few minutes. Hey, no problem, Leon. Don't worry about it. I am sick AF, man. I'm probably going to end here in like 10 minutes, but I just wanted to give you guys some good stuff. Apologies for being late. I've been up since 6 a.m. Just got back home. Oh, dude, man. It's okay, man. Don't worry about it, dude. I'm so glad I got to stream for you guys at least. Yeah, Bugsy, it looks like Grogu's never going to talk, at least in this movie. I don't know what's going to happen after that, but I hate that idea. Thank you so much, Jeff, for welcome everybody, and I appreciate that. Skywalker Academy says, and that's why Qui-Gon's death was so important. Him living changes everything. So but see, I'm also really stubborn about this, right? Is like, yes, I know it's called the Duel of Fates, and I guess this is my. So there's a lot of people, especially people that read Legends continuity, especially New Jedi Order, right? And Heir to the Empire. There's a lot of people that really, or even Old Republic, I would say. There's a lot of people that like. They listen to George Lucas's stuff and they praise George Lucas, but then all of a sudden they don't want to listen to George Lucas when it involves like story or power scales in Star Wars, right? Specifically the Old Republic or New Jedi Order. And I think what's really interesting is when you talk about Qui-Gon's death, this is the Duel of Fates in The Phantom Menace. So as soon as Darth Maul ends up killing Qui-Gon Jinn, that's it. Anakin's trajectory, his destiny is going this way now, right? But I think what's interesting is like if we do believe in what George is saying, right? Especially about the dark side, and the dark side is a drug, and no one has any immunity to it. Well, then, is it the same thing with Sidious being the devil? Because if Sidious is the devil, both in power and manipulation and whatever George is implying of this evil entity, right? The manifestation of evil, then would Qui-Gon Jinn's death or life really affect everything? You know, I mean, I do believe obviously that's the whole point of Qui-Gon Jinn living, is that Anakin is no longer in jeopardy of potentially being groomed by Sidious, because Qui-Gon is there, and Qui-Gon is going to take him and go away and train him. Maybe they both leave the Jedi Order. Maybe they become way seekers and conduits of the Force. There's a really, really, really great path there for Anakin and Qui-Gon to do things never before seen in Star Wars. And I think that's a what-if story worth telling, you know. But do you guys believe that Qui-Gon literally saves Anakin's fate? Because I still think somehow, some way, Qui-Gon ends up dying in the story, even if he survives the attack on Naboo. Will of the Force says, thanks so much. Everybody welcome Will of the Force, by the way. Great pod with them. Will of the Force says, in my opinion, the reason there's no great Jedi is George's story was meant to teach how to be good in the face of darkness. From a story point of view, moral gray and everything is better than the label gray Jedi. Yes, well, I agree. But I also just don't fundamentally... I also just don't fundamentally agree with the idea of what people perceive the Grey Jedi as, because what the Grey Jedi actually is completely different. The definition of the Grey Jedi is not that. We've gone over it so many times. I've made a whole video on it. But the Grey Jedi is basically just someone that doesn't follow the rules of the Order. He doesn't listen to the Jedi Council. He just divulges on his own path. That does not mean he uses the dark side of the Force. Okay? And this is from the Knights of the Old Republic encyclopedia. Okay? This whole using the dark side thing. Sorry guys, my camera. This whole using the dark side thing with no immunity, or sorry, with immunity is made up. You know, I don't know where that came from. I don't know where it spawned from. But somewhere along the line, it got really crazy, and the definition of the Grey Jedi was changed and became something else. It's so sad because the concept of the Grey Jedi is beautiful, because you have something, especially from the the concept of Knights of the Old Republic in the encyclopedia and the game guide, and then there's also Knights of the Old Republic 2. They have one, and then the essential guide right behind me has one, and it's literally just describing that a Jedi just goes off and follows the Force rather than the dogmatic view of the Jedi. That's it. There's nothing else. It does say that their way is dangerous because they may end up falling. And that's the other thing, too, which counters the idea of the dark side of the Force being conquered because they fall, which is the same thing what happened to Revan. You know, people argue that Revan made a choice, but even in his choice, he was corrupted by the dark side, you know, which I think is also one of the best parts of his story, you know, because even if he had good intent, just like Anakin, he's ultimately getting corrupted by the drug of the dark side, you know. The Force is one. Fear and love are one and the other. This is everything, and everything is the Force. Okay, Kat. Okay, Chris. Okay, Chris. I'm going to show you something real quick, big dog. I really appreciate your passion, man. I hope that you come back to the channel, because I love the consistent talk that you bring up, you know. But I think this, just read the books. No, big dog. I've read books. I have every single new Jedi Order book behind me, dude. Do you not see that? I have every single new Jedi book. What are you talking about? You know? I'm going to show you this real quick. Man, I am so sick, bro. Listen. Hang on. Hang on. Give me my archive. I'm looking at my archive real quick. Give me 1 second. I have George Lucas's stuff all over. Okay. Here we go. Okay, give me 1 second. Just read the books. Just read the books. Okay, this is the problem with the whole book stuff, okay? Because even if you read all the books, again, George Lucas is not writing every single book, man. You know, and I'm a diehard Legends fan. Look at this shit. I got KOTOR all over this place, all right? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying there is a problem with consistency here, okay? And this is what I'm talking about. George specifically talks about the dark side.
Oh, okay. Because it looks like it's referring to episode 1. And a lot of this, like, this thing about the Force, you know, and all living things that surround us is really just a capsule of what was said in episode 5.
Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us.
The core of the Force. I mean, you got the dark side, the light side. One is selfless, one is selfish. And you want to keep them in balance. What happens when you go to the dark side is it goes out of balance, and then you get really selfish and you forget about everybody, and you ultimately lead yourself. Because when you get selfish, you...
What do you, what, you can't hear anything? Is it not playing? Is something going on?
Get stuff, or you want stuff. And when you want stuff and you get stuff, then you are afraid somebody's going to take it away from you. Whether it's a person or a thing or a particular pleasure, experience. Once you become afraid that somebody's going to take it away from you, or you're going to lose it, then you start to become angry. Especially if you're losing it. And that anger leads to hate. And hate leads to suffering.
Yeah, I'm just letting you guys listen.
Mostly on the part of the person who's selfish. Because you spend all your time being afraid of losing everything you've got. Right. Instead of actually living. Where joy, by giving to other people, you can't think about yourself. And therefore there's no pain. But the pleasure factor of greed and of selfishness is a short-lived experience. Therefore, you're constantly trying to replenish it. But of course, the more you replenish it, the harder it is to, so you have to keep upping the ante. You're actually afraid of the pain of not having the joy. So that is ultimately the core of the whole dark side, light side of the Force. And everything flows from that.
That's it. That's it. That's it, man. I have not gauged. I was focusing on Chris. Look, Chris. Chris, I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with you from the new Jedi Order standpoint. I'm talking about George's view and what his view is for Star Wars. He didn't write the books. So you have someone else's idea of what it was, which I'm not saying is bad or good, and I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying what you are talking about, what's in there, did not come from George. That's it. That is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So a character like Reactor is something that I think challenges Star Wars, and I don't think it's a bad thing. But will that happen in the future? Is that a component of Star Wars that should be applied? Sure, I think so. Yes, but in every single story, especially George's story, the dark side is a cancer. It is a drug. It cannot coexist with the Force. And when it does, when people tap into it, it throws off balance. That's the entire point. If the son of the Force has no immunity to the dark side and gets corrupted, why should any other person, any other Force user, have any immunity whatsoever? You have the literal angel of light put into Star Wars, and he falls because he's literally the son of darkness at that point, because he is corrupted by the dark side, and when I think of it that way, because what George is talking about, I don't think everything else makes sense. It just seems different. That's it. If the dark side is cancer, then does that remove accountability? If the light side is perfect, why is the galaxy in full peace? The Force is one. The galaxy is not in peace because they want to make money and keep telling stories. That's it. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about that. I mean, like, there's always going to be conflict, and the dark side exists. You can't destroy the dark side, which is what George Lucas is talking about. The dark side always exists, and so when people tap into that, they spread it like a disease, like a cancer. That's the entire point. The dark side existing is not the problem. It's the people that tap into it and use it with that same ideology you're talking about in chat, like Reactor or Revan or Starkiller or whatever character that you want to. You can't get selfish in Star Wars. You can't get angry in Star Wars. You can't get jealous in Star Wars because it's not the same type of real life human emotions. It's different. You're connected to the Force, and the Force will connect you with the dark side when you are feeling angry, when you're feeling upset. And that's the whole point of Anakin's mental illness or challenge, is that he's not controlling his emotions. It's not that his love is bad. No. It's just he's trying to control something that he shouldn't be able to control at all. Someone else's life. Bringing someone back from the dead. It's impossible. And because he was twisted by Sidious, that's why everything goes to shit. Accountability, he has to have some accountability. He's using a drug. He tapped into it. He's getting knowledge about it. Why is he not taking account? Why would you not take accountability? After understanding and being self-aware enough to understand that you're using a drug. And the way George Lucas talks about it is like you keep having to up to ante every single time. You keep having to get that pleasure every single time. That's a drug. I'm talking about Star Wars. I'm not talking about real life. That's it. That's the way I've always seen it. And I really don't think anything's going to change unless we get something in a movie that completely changes it. I guess Mace being afraid of Palps staying alive is the dark side, since its fear is inherently the dark side. I mean, is fear the dark side? I feel like it's natural to be afraid. I don't think Mace is really scared. Does it really talk about him in the novelization being scared? I don't remember that. I remember him choking on the ozone of his lightsaber because Sidious is pushing it. And I remember Mace Windu being drained, like he was tired and he was going in for the kill. But I don't think he was afraid. I think the other Jedi, Saisi 10 and Kit Fisto, and Agent Kalor, they were definitely scared because they were asking for Yoda, they were asking for Anakin's help, they were asking for Shakti. I don't know. But I think that's the part, is that the fear will eventually lead to the dark side. I think it's the same thing with the anger and the love. How you act on the emotion is the problem, not the emotion itself. Yes, exactly, Will. That's exactly how I see it. It's like Anakin seeing Padme for the first time forever, he clearly has feelings. It's not the feelings that are bad. It's what he does in the moment. His mom died. It's not him being sad and angry that's wrong. It's him killing women and children and the Tusken Raiders that's wrong. You know, he can feel all those emotions, but the way he handled everything with those emotions is why he fell, is why he was a problem. You know, I think that when we look at Anakin, and there's so many people, including myself, that have defended Anakin for so long, including myself, you know, you realize the two different parts. Is like, it's two parts. It's not him not feeling those emotions. It's him and the way he acted when he was feeling those emotions, you know? So he doesn't care if Palps stays alive. He just has no fear of anything, I guess. No, he definitely cares if Palpatine lives. Mace wants to kill him. I mean, it's the Sith Lord. Why are you not killing that guy, dude? That's what I don't understand about Anakin. Anakin has killed so many people in that moment, but because this guy has, you know, this guy all of a sudden now is so important to Anakin because that's what he's done. He's done his entire life and, you know, completely brainwashed Anakin. All of a sudden, Anakin wants to save a life. And it's not because it's the right thing to do. It's because it's selfishness, because he wants to save Padme. But it's not even about Padme at that point, which I've already talked about. It's just about power. That's it. It's just about power. Anakin is selfish. That's how it was. That's the determining factor, you know? That's why I think it's so important when you watch Return of the Jedi. You know, it's people down similar paths, and they make two different choices, you know? That's why I love Return of the Jedi. I think Return of the Jedi is so good. Bugsy says, doesn't Mortis arc explain this pretty well regarding the balance of light and dark? Yeah. So does it? Do you think it does? I think it shows exactly that the dark side is bad, because what I got from that series is that you have the father and the son and the daughter, and the son is sitting there and he's chilling. He's supposed to be a representation of the dark side. He's not a manifestation. Same thing with the daughter, a representation of the light side, not a manifestation. And the father is keeping them in balance. But then as soon as Anakin shows up, what happened? The son turns to the dark side. The son tries to kill the father. The daughter dies. It goes off balance. Why does it go off balance? Because the son succumbs. I think what the Mortis arc did is show you that the dark side is a drug. That's the whole point. You have Anakin, who's the son of the Force, and then you have the son, the literal son, who's supposed to be a representation of the dark side, and he is succumbing to his own power. You know? Let's go, Leon. Everybody welcome Leon with a ready up inside the chat. You know? Yet Luke acted upon his anger and fear, and yet chose to stop. Yes, exactly, Chris. He chose to stop. He chose to not kill people. He chose to not be what his father was. Why the fuck is it so bright in here? Thank you. Relax, camera. That's the whole point. Is that Anakin always had the same choice as Luke, and it was to stop. It was the same. It was the same choice. Sorry, guys. I don't know why my camera is fucking making me go to the goddamn Mortis. Yes, but he was fully in the dark side. That was your point. What do you mean he was fully in the dark side? He was tapping into it, but he wasn't. Well, he didn't fall completely. He definitely tapped into it. You know, the whole point of falling is what Anakin did. Anakin fell. Anakin was using it over and over. Luke taps into it and then stops because he realizes he's going to become his father, you know? Vergier's philosophy lines up with what I'm saying, that the dark side is a drug. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the dark side is a drug. Sorry, guys. I don't know why my lamp was doing that. So where does the line stop? When does something become the dark side? What do you mean? I don't, guys. Yeah, she believes that you fall as a result of your individual choices. Yes, but I said inherently, if the dark side is a drug, then what about Luke? He stopped. He didn't tap into it as much as Anakin. That's what George is talking about. You have to hit the ante up. Luke hits it once, and that's when he's fighting the Emperor. And that's it. He stops. He does not go back, guys. He's done. Anakin does it consistently through many years, through many choices. He's consistently reusing and tapping into it. He's allowed his power to believe that it's a part of his flow. I would say anger. I don't know. I don't know. I only know what I've read and what I've seen. I don't know where the exact line is. I think that's the same thing with Vapad, where like with Vapad and Mace is using it, right? Mace is talking about he goes to the penumbra. Exactly, you don't know. Why would I know? I'm not George Lucas. What? Do you guys think I'm like the master of something here? I'm just a Star Wars fan talking about stuff. Chris, I don't know why you are so upset about the idea of me challenging yours. When we're talking about Vapad, George never identified a line because it's more based on knowledge of thyself. I think George very clearly defines that the dark side is bad. That's all I've been talking about. That's it. And we were talking about this because of Grey Jedi, and that the idea of someone using the dark side with immunity and not having repercussions and not being corrupted. That's the whole thing I've been ranting about the entire time. So Luke is bad. Oh man, I think you're just kind of fucking with me at this point. When you talk about Vapad, Mace Windu is going to the penumbra, and that just means he's going to the edge of the light side. So there's clearly some form of border, but I don't think Vapad was created by George. I don't think George even knows what Vapad is. So again, is that also something that we're using in the expanded universe, and we enjoy it, we love it, that's why we read the books. But is that something that would fundamentally stand in a George Lucas movie? It's not like he's sitting there on commentary talking about, well, he's fighting the Emperor, he's fighting Sidious because he's using his Vapad technique. I just want to know when exactly something becomes inherently a drug. I think the point of Anakin's story is that he lets his emotions control him, and he doesn't make the right choices. And if this is Star Wars, okay, this is not like real life. If I get angry in real life, I'm not tapping into the dark side. I'm not tapping into a drug, okay? I'm talking about Star Wars. So if we're talking about Star Wars, the Force is connected to all living things. And if there is this dark side, which is this other nasty, cancerous thing that is the same but separate, I guess you're opening that doorway. And you become a conduit. You're channeling that energy. You're not channeling the Force, whatever the Force is, right? The unifying force, the light side of the Force, which is just the Force. You're opening another door. Every single time you get angry, every single time you get upset, every single time you get jealous, and that door opens up more than the other one. So you begin to channel that direction instead of everything else. I mean, that's the way I feel like George interprets what this is, and that's the whole point of the up the ante and the pleasure versus joy, cancer versus the Force. Of course. Yeah, enjoy, Chris. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. It's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. Just let Chris do his thing. You know, it's fine because Chris is someone that is very into 40 years of expanded universe, and that's really good because I like people to be here with that because I'm also a Legends fan. You guys know, but I think Chris represents a part of the fandom that I think is very, very, very devoted to the idea that is an evolution of George's thinking of the Force. You know, I have never pretended to know everything in Star Wars, but I think that's the point of the expanded universe is discussions like this need to happen, like Chris is bringing up, because Chris is right. Chris is extremely right, and so is B-Rad. And so is Gage about what Vergier is talking about. You know, especially when you look at something in the movies, because I think that's the problem with a lot of people like me, extremely hardcore, where I need more answers. And I think that's why the expanded universe is so important to the foundation of Star Wars, is because it's built off so much stuff, and it really does go into something deeper that George has had, which is why Knights of the Old Republic is one of the best Star Wars games of all time. But then there's things like, you know, you take the Star Wars, the Knights of the Old Republic balance meter. Every time you do something bad, it goes down, 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 right? And then now it becomes something more of, oh, we're going to take this like seriously. This is exactly how the Force works. But I don't even think George ever thought about that. That's a game mechanic, and can you really make a game mechanic like a representation of how the Force works? I don't think so. You know, because Knights of the Old Republic, you break into apartments on terrace. That's a bad thing, but you don't get dark side points for that, you know? Now, if someone actually legitimately thought about that, which I think is a really, 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 really important thing for someone like Dave Filoni to think about, or Sam Witwer, okay, cool. So now you're taking what George Lucas created, and now you're taking it further. You're fleshing it out. You're extending upon it. But then I think about, like, if you get to a point where, let's say what Vergier is saying, right? That this is it. This is the action of all things. This was supposed to happen, right? So then, was Anakin really meant to kill children? You know? Was Kylo Ren allowed to let Hux blow up 80 trillion people? You know? Because then it makes someone like Kreia right. And I love Kreia, but I don't want her to be right about how there is no free will. I think that's a really shitty thing for Star Wars, you know? Well, from what I understand, yes, because I think, man, I used to love Kreia so much, but as I've gotten older, I started to realize Treia's just kind of, she's like half right and half wrong. She's like mumbling nonsense the entire time, you know? But I guess that's the point of like everything, right? Yeah, no, I think Kreia is one of the like best written Star Wars characters, man. I'm obsessed with that character so much. But as I gotten older, like there's just stuff where she's like talking about shit, and then you know, you find out that she's turning to the dark side. So my thing has always been like, was her philosophy just like motivated from the dark side? Because maybe she started thinking about these things and talking about these things because she fell twice. She fell twice. She was the Dark Lord of the Sith twice. She was betrayed by Nihilus, you know, and Zion. And then, you know, she ultimately found them because she was looking for Force wounds, because she wanted to destroy the Force, you know. So it's just, I don't know. It's a lot of deep thought stuff. But I think at the end of the day, I think that's where the obsession kicks in for Star Wars. Is I don't think that there's answers to everything, you know. I don't even think Chris Avellone and everyone else had thought about it as much as they wanted to, and they couldn't even extend what they wanted to do because Knights of the Republic 3 was never made, you know? I don't know. But I think they all are quite compelling characters, and I personally believe that Vergier is just too complex and enigmatic of a character to be brought into Star Wars. You know, I feel like it's only something that's going to be in the expanded universe. I just don't have enough faith that a character that complex will be in anything Star Wars. You know, Baylan is a really good start, but Baylan isn't anywhere near the level of depth that a book can give you. You know, and I think that's, I don't know. The books in Star Wars, it's like the movies are one thing and the books are different, but it's almost like it's two different franchises when you dip into the expanded universe, you know? Yes, I also believe that too, Gage. 100%. Yes. Skywalker Academy says, I like that there are no clear answers, keeps the mystery alive, which I like. But then you have something like Chris was talking about. Oh my God, man. I really went crazy. I really wish I was having that debate when I wasn't sick. Who would win in a fight, Anakin versus Luke? It's Luke all day, man. It's not even close. It's not even close, man. You know. It's not even close. But yeah, crazy Sith Lord at the end of the day, and she still thinks becoming a Sith is the best means. Yes, and that's why I think that's why I think it's so good. Sorry guys, I'm like trailing off because my head is hurting so bad. That's why I think at the end of the day, when I hear someone talk about how they really love Kreia, I just remember at that point where I was obsessed with Kreia. But then like when you realize that she's a Sith in 2 points of her life, I really can't take everything that she says anymore, because she's been corrupted twice. That's up there with Revan, where Revan was corrupted twice. Not even close is insane. I can see Luke winning though. Yo, what's up, Connor? Leon, it's not close at all. Leon, it's not close at all. Luke Skywalker is manipulating black holes. Anakin has never done anything remotely as impressive as that. Luke Skywalker is manipulating black holes. No. Luke Skywalker literally becomes the conduit of the Force. He's practically Superman of Star Wars at his highest point. They couldn't even kill this guy in the expanded universe. They had to make stories hundreds of years after him because there's no way to kill him. No way. Like the way you talk about Anakin and his full potential, Luke literally lived that. Luke literally did that. It's the what if Anakin didn't, or what if Anakin could. He didn't. Luke did. It's a high diff win. There's no way he's not struggling against the Chosen One. He's making Anakin look like a joke. And he's telling him, is that all you got, Father? I'm telling you right now, dude, it's not close. It's like No, Leon. No, man. No, I don't even think Anakin is scoring 3 points in the game. It's a shutout. It's a blowout. Luke is everything and more. No, man. Chat. Someone, guys, please. It's not close, big dog. It's not, man. It's not, dude. Like, listen, Leon, we're talking about the most prime power of both of them being alive. The most prime of power, okay? You're talking about Anakin Skywalker versus Anakin Skywalker's prime, which is like Revenge of the Sith, okay? And Luke Skywalker's prime, which is fucking insane. Darth Sidious, okay? Darth Sidious in the Dark Empire series is astronomically more powerful than anything in the movies, okay? He's literally destroying the surface of worlds in his base power level, and he's teleporting people across the galaxy in a second like it's Dragon Ball Z, okay? The power is literally creating disruptions in time continuum of space, okay? And then, this is not even in his most powerful state, and then he gets a new body where he's in his prime. So he's even stronger. Like, this is the Cell games, and he's in his perfect form that he's never been before. And Luke Skywalker destroys him in 2 pages. 2 pages. That is a Sidious that is 10 times anything that Anakin has ever faced in his life. And Luke Skywalker isn't even in his prime. Luke Skywalker isn't even in his prime. You think Anakin is winning against that? You think Anakin is making that dude struggle? No. Hell no. No, man. It's not close. Luke is the Superman of Star Wars, man. Luke is the... I don't think you understand. Luke is the Superman of Star Wars. He's insane. That's why so many people were butthurt at The Last Jedi, bro. Because YouTube and everything, I was going off and everybody was just watching all these videos and they understood a little bit of like what Luke could do. But they don't know. They don't know, man. That's why Reading the Heir of the Empire is so good. Because like you're in I think it's either Darkness Rising, Dark Forces Rising. I think it's Dark Forces Rising, where Luke is like, you know, listen, I'm really good at this, but Yoda is way more powerful than I am. What? Huh? What? And the Force? Luke isn't like the ascension of power that Luke gets later on is insane. It's massive. It's crazy, dude. It's so crazy. The son of the Force who never got actually to reach the state or embrace his light side. Yes, exactly. And that's the whole problem. Like, if we're talking about, like, Anakin full potential and nothing ever goes wrong, okay, yeah, that's different. You know, he's literally a god, you know. But that didn't happen, you know. Battlefront 2 Anakin day one Battlefront Anakin was insane. And it was so funny because I was one of those kids on Reddit that was, like, replying... He's the chosen one. They were getting so mad, dude. They were so upset. Grandmaster Luke Skywalker's on another level. Anakin had the highest potential, yet he never cheated. Yes, that's the thing. Yeah, it never happened. It was never going to happen. It's not close, Leon, big dog. It's not, dude. Under certain standards for sure, but Luke is the offspring of the son of the Force. But full power Anakin is shitting on full power Luke. But full power Anakin. No, bro. No. It is not. It's not hard to quantify, bro. It's not. It's not. Prime Anakin Skywalker is getting bodied by Prime Luke, man. It's not happening, dude. Like, mind you, I'm not talking about full potential Anakin, okay? I'm a full fulfilled potential Anakin, whatever you want to call him, okay? At the most, he would have to fight with 100% IQ, and Anakin would have to get super arrogant. But full power Anakin is shitting full power Luke. So, the problem is, okay, so... The only evidence, in my opinion, that we have, like legitimate evidence, real evidence from George Lucas, is that in Star Wars archives, George Lucas talks about how if Anakin doesn't lose the fight on Mustafar, he's killing the Emperor and becoming Emperor of the Universe. And so that's a lot. That's a lot of power, okay? The problem is that the expanded universe goes into some insane feats, okay? Like, guys, I am so sick, okay? All right? But I need a coin. Hang on. Does anybody have a coin? All right. I feel like I've talked about this so much, all right? All right. Here we go. We'll use this Ahsoka pin. Okay, do you see this? This is like 3 times the size of a quarter. All right? If a black hole opened up in Earth the size of this, it would destroy the entire solar system. That is more powerful than anything that we've seen in 99% of Star Wars lore. More powerful than the Death Star, way more powerful than Nihilus, okay? Luke Skywalker is manipulating black holes. Black holes. They are manufactured black holes, but they are much, much, much larger than anything Anakin has ever done. Okay? And he's manipulating them. That is 100 times a feat that Anakin has ever done in anything in his life. You know? And you know what's crazy? Is that someone else that wasn't Luke also did that. And didn't even try as hard as Luke. You know? That's the type of stuff those are the heavy hitters you're dealing with in New Jedi Order. Anakin in his prime was not like that. He never got to live to be like that. He was extremely young, you know? I don't know if you saw my messages earlier, but I love to talk to you when you're feeling better about my books. Hell yeah, B-Rad. Absolutely, man. Definitely. Especially if Anakin gets angry, Luke is done. No. If Anakin gets angry, he's getting slapped. When has anger ever helped Anakin? Outside of Dooku. No. That's not it, bro. Anger doesn't help him at all. Anger literally just ruins him. You know? Yes, that's the whole point. He acquires a small portion of power right there. But Anakin should be just not succumbing to that shit at all, you know? See, but that's the thing though too, Bugsy. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, yeah, bro, he killed all them kids. Yeah, there was no one in that temple that was worth a damn, you know? But that's it, guys. I'm done. I went way more than I was going to. I was only going to go for 20 minutes, but Chris was bringing up some good stuff, so I wanted to talk to him and give him the respect. But I am done, guys. I hope you did awesome today. Thank you so much for being really cool and respecting Chris and respecting Will and everybody else in here. Gage, you were awesome. You guys freaking awesome people inside this chat. I really appreciate you guys. As always, man, check out the shorts Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then also the Stream Starlight podcast every Wednesday or Thursday or Friday that we usually get it uploaded. And as always, with the apprentices and acolytes coming into the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself, I am Lord Dagovere, and thank you so much for being here, guys. He's annihilating Luke in the most scenario. Get out of here, Leon. I'll see you guys around, all right? Deuces.